It's that time of the year again, and here are my favorite art books of 2025. These aren't necessarily books that were released this year, just books that I've bought this year, or old books of mine that I've already had in my collection and I've been just paying more attention to. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, The Art of Memories is a book that I've had for a while now, but it's recently re-entered my rotation of reference material. It's the art for the movie Memories. It's an anthology of 3 animated films, all of which are adaptations of short stories by Katsuhiro Otomo. The standout one being Magnetic Rose. Otomo famously being the creator and director of Akira, so if you're a fan of his work, then Memories, and of course, this book is not something you want to miss out on. I think Memories is oddly underrated and falls under the radar even amongst anime lovers. Now, this book is packed with gorgeous concept art and production drawings. There's loads of background art in here which are all hand-drawn. If you're into the 90s anime aesthetics like Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop, and of course Akira, then I think you really like this one. And I hate to say this, but they just don't make them like this anymore. Another thing is that this book is a great size. It's so handy and easy to browse. I just really understand the obsession with art books and coffee table books in general being these super large encyclopedic slabs. Like my guy, how big do you think my coffee table is? Having something like this makes it so easy to flip through, which is rare in the art book world. Overall, it's a great addition to the collection, and if I see this on your bookshelf, then I know that you know ball. As usual, there'll be links to the books below if you want to check them out, maybe for some last minute gifts for the holiday season. Now, Hungry Minds is the perfect sponsor of today's video because they've also come out with an art book. It's called The Book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding Civilizations. I think you're gonna like this one. Now, if you've ever wondered what it's like to time travel back into the past with all the knowledge of today, well, this is the book that helps you do that. Sort of. Imagine this, you're in ancient Egypt and you suddenly tell someone about things like a telephone, a car, or electricity. But here's the kicker. Do you actually know how these things work? Well, the book is all about breaking down these amazing inventions and discoveries throughout history. Not only does it give you the how, it shows you the why these things matter and how they've changed the course of civilization. What makes this book even cooler is the gorgeous artwork. Each illustration was painstakingly hand-drawn by super talented artists, and every fact was double-checked by scientists and experts. But seriously, this art is like really gorgeous, I think. It's like this intricately drawn ink and watercolor illustrations, which is just up my alley. There's a slight fantastical element in the art that I find really compelling. Whether you're an art lover, a history buff, or just someone curious about how we got here, the book is something you'll want to explore. So if you want to check out the book, and trust me, you do, go to the link in the description below or use the code CHROMAMOMA10 at hungryminds.com for 10% off all products. Thanks again to Hungry Mind for sponsoring this video. Speaking of super large encyclopedic slabs, this is Saul Leiter's retrospective by Thames and Hudson. Saul Leiter is my absolute favorite photographer. He's a street photographer and captured the streets of New York in the 50s in such a unique way. The dreamy quality of his compositions, the use of color and geometric light, it's like nothing I've ever seen. And even though these photos were taken in a bygone era, there remains a timeless quality to them. The balance and the use of negative space in his shots feel so modern. Needless to say, Saul Leiter's images make for very good reference. I love how bold his decision making is. Sometimes in my own work, I find myself trying to over-render everything at the expense of mood and story. And with Saul's work, the vibe is immaculate. There's also a section at the back of the book which shows Saul's paintings as well. While I personally don't find them as compelling as his photography, it's really inspirational to see how he lived his life. Saul Leiter was an artist's artist. He left a lucrative career in commercial photography to pursue his love of watercolor painting and street photography. This book is massive, but it's really the only way to fit his body of work into a single publication. So if there's one photography book that you should have, it might be this one. The next book is Flexible Visual Systems by Martin Lorenz. And before you turn your nose up because this isn't an art book, hear me out. Now, I'm of the opinion that graphic design is the most overlooked skill an artist or an illustrator can have. Like, we constantly talk about learning the foundations, anatomy, perspective, constructional drawing, but nobody really brings up graphic design, which I think is a foundational skill. Something that I've noticed over the last decade or so, where the thing that separates a good artist from a really great artist is a strong sense of graphic design. We're slowly seeing that awareness come to light. Marathon is an overt example of that, where the visual language of the game is very graphic and abstract. But if you think about it, all composition, when boiled down to their essence, are a form of graphic design. I mean, take a look at the previous book, for example. Saul Leiter's best photos are the way that they are because of a strong graphic read. Flexible visual systems is a really approachable way to learning graphic design skills because it simplifies the process down to its barest elements. And from there, it teaches you how to build a cohesive visual language. It's a very specific school of design, modular design, but it's one that I found to be very helpful for illustrators specifically. You can also translate a lot of the principles here directly to illustration. After all, this book is talking about modular systems, which can be applied to almost all forms of visual art. Aside from that, it also is just a really pretty book to look at. It's beautifully typeset, the layout is great, and I love the paper they use on the cover. I think it's Invercoat, which feels so nice to the touch. The quality of print is great too, nice bright offset print colors. I think it might actually be Pantone ink, but I don't know. It's really rare for books to actually use Pantone ink nowadays. It's too expensive. Anyways, if you're a publication nerd like me, then you'd certainly enjoy the production value of this book. My Adventures as an Illustrator is not an art book per se, more a book about art by an artist. It's Norman Rockwell's autobiography where he writes about his life and journey as an illustrator. Norman Rockwell is, of course, arguably the most famous American illustrator. This book is a goldmine of insights into the making of art and how your lived experiences ultimately feed back into the making of art. I mean, this is also such a treasured resource to quote-unquote hear it from the man himself. Imagine if you could get that level of first-hand information from like great masters like Michelangelo or Monet. I can't begin to express to you how cool this actually is. It's funny, reading this, Rockwell worked as an artist in the early 1900s, and while it was a different time, not much has changed in the last 100 years. The life of an artist remains very much the same. Cooped up in the studio, painting, hustling for gigs, the endless pursuit of beauty. It's a story that I relate to, and I suspect a lot of you will as well. On the subject of Norman Rockwell, let's talk about his teacher, George Bridgman. George Bridgman was Rockwell's teacher at art school. He basically taught him everything he knew about figure drawing. To me, Bridgman is like the guy if you want to learn anatomy. If you want to learn jazz, you go to the real book. And if you want to learn how to draw the human body, you go to this, Bridgman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. And I know a lot of people recommend Loomis's book for learning anatomy, which is great. But if you want to go straight to the source, well, guess who taught Loomis how to draw? Now, this is a very dense book. It's a textbook written by Bridgman, so you're not expected to get through this very quickly. Following along with the exercises is a lot of work, but if you get to the other side, I promise you will be so much better off for it. Anatomy is also one of those things where you can fall out of practice, so it's nice to have something like this around where you can come back to it and refer to it should you need to. There are a lot of instructional books out there, especially for figure drawing, and I think they all have something to offer when it comes to teaching you something about how to draw. Personally, I think there are a few essential books that every artist should have and read, and this book is one of them. The Mob 222 is what happens when you get incredibly talented professional artists and give them permission to draw silly stuff. It started out as a group of friends on Discord making low-pressure art, because drawing for work can get a little too serious sometimes. Admittedly, I am a little biased because I am a part of this art book, so I guess this book is filled with incredibly talented artists, plus me. It's really cool to see that despite how low stakes these drawings are, it's still very obvious how skilled everyone is. This book is packed with so much personality. A lot of the time, we lose that personality in the pursuit of drawing a more finished piece. It's really nice to see how raw these drawings are. And I mean, that was the ethos in making this book. It gives me the same feeling of like getting together with some friends to sketch at a cafe and then seeing everyone's drawings at the end of a session. It's a really small self-funded project, so you can't get it off Amazon or anything. The only way is to either catch any of these artists at a convention or to reach out to them on social media. There might be more ways to get this book in the future, so I will keep you posted. Well, there you have it, my favorite art books of 2025. What are your favorite art books of this year? Are there any that stood out to you in particular? Or are there any books that you wish you bought? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of the year.